everyone and welcome to this new How to Play Haywire video. In today's episode we are going to have a look at the player phase and see all the different actions your model can do on the board. Every player phase always starts by having a chance of encountering one of the Fog of War event cards, except for the first turn of the game, but it starts at the turn number 2. You will notice that the design are a bit different. That's my old placeholder design. Now it's orange with a nice image, so don't really look at that design. It was one of the first prototype. How the Fog of War event deck works. So the first time you are setting up your game, you place a d6 on the dice, and you start of turn 2, you roll a dice. As long as the dice value is lower than the value of the dice on the deck, you are fine. But here, for example, turn 2, I didn't reach 6, I'm fine, no Fog of War card this turn. The following turn, this dice value will be moved to 5, and the following turn it will be moved to 4. So at each turn you decrease that dice value, and again you roll a dice, and when you encounter a higher value than that dice here, you draw one of the Fog of War event cards, and you resolve the effect immediately. So for example, here, this card define on the roof. Enemy reinforcement enter from a random building roof. So that's just one of the examples of the event, but there are many pretty cool events. There are actually 30 different events in that deck that will spice a bit your missions. Now that we cover the event deck, you can finally start the player phase. During the player phase, you can activate any of your models and do up to 2 actions with each of them. For this example, it's the first turn. I've set up all the threat tokens in some various area on the board, and I've placed my assaulting team on this side over here. It's actually on the location of one of the spawn points that we have here, but we don't really need to care about that right now. So, now let's pick my template. I'm using this template just because it's easier. I have marked 1, 2, 6 to measure the different distance. The whole template is 12, and I have another template here which is 18, which are the most commonly used measures you will need to play the game. The first action one of your model can do is the move action. Here I've printed the cheat sheet that you can find at the end of the rule book. And again, the first action is a move action. So let's pick this simple model here. I'm going to place the ruler next to that guy, and he can move 6 inches, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He can move up to here. That's his first action. He still have 1 action point left he can use to do another move if he wants. So let's do another move up to here, for example. Your models are not limited to only use one action once. You can use every action twice if you want. Here, in this situation, that soldier that I just moved have line of sight on this threat token. So we can reveal what we have here. For this example, I'm fighting the insurgent force, and we are at turn 1, and we start at the threat level 1. To define what is present on each threat token, when you have line of sight, you take the threat level, and you roll a simple dice on it. Here, for example, I score a 12. A 12 means that 1 fighter plus 1 sniper spawn on that spawn point. So I'm going to take 1 fighter, 1 basic fighter, and I'm going to take 1 sniper, and I'm going to place those on the board. All models spawn exactly where you have the threat token, except actually for the sniper. The sniper spawn on the closest elevated position that has line of sight on that threat token and looking in that direction. So here, the highest elevated position on board is the mosque here. So it's going to be placed over here, looking at the direction of the threat token where he was located. So in this situation, I had line of sight on the threat token, but the threat token was looking in another direction, so he can't see me. But let's say that the threat token actually was oriented in that direction. So here, there is a chance that this model see my guy. Haywire is time of day agnostic, meaning here we could be at night and there could be a chance that the enemy didn't saw the movement of my guy. Model only automatically detect when you move within 6 inches of them, and here I'm between 7 and 8, so that's fine, but still there is a chance for the enemy to detect me. Enemy model detect on an 11 plus. So here there is only one model that have line of sight on my guy, so I'm going to roll a single dice. And here I scored a 1, meaning my guy hasn't been detected by this enemy. If there was, let's say, 2 fighters, I would have rolled 2 dice because the 2 of them could see my guy. And if one of them see me, the whole group is alerted and can start to fight my team. So that's it for the basic movement. The movement here can be done on vertical surfaces up to 2 inch high. It can be done through difficult terrain like that arena over here. It can also move to like on difficult terrain like those trashes. And also, of course, move down stairs, ladder, and rope at the same speed, just to simplify the flow of the game. The next action your model can do is a sneak action. The model can move up to 3 inches, but are harder to detect. So here I'm going to activate that second model here. He's going, instead of doing a simple move, he's going to do a sneak action and enter that destructed house. So here he just moved 3 inches. When you do a sneak action, you are assuming you are crouched and you are harder to be detected. So here, right away, we have line of sight on this threat token. So let's first reveal what we have here. So I'm going to roll a die, and here we have a 6. A 6 to 10 is a civilian. So here, I shouldn't have any issue. But let's say it was actually maybe like a 14, a fighter and a foreign advisor. So I'm going to place those over here. I'm going to place those 2 models there. So those 2 models here, I am within their line of sight. I am not within 6 inches, so they don't detect me automatically, but they still have a chance to detect me. And again, because I did a sneak action and not a standard move, they can only detect me on a 15 plus. So I'm taking 2 dice because there is 2 enemies, going to roll the 2 of them, and actually the 2 of them here roll above 15, so they still, the 2 of them detected my guy, so the sneak action was not enough in that case. The next action is the Stalk action. It's basically the last move a model can do to be placed in a good firing position without the chance of being detected. That's basically like a sniper with a ghillie suit that advances in a bush, and as soon as he stops his movement, he can't be detected at all. You can also totally do that when moving inside a house. So for example, here, let's say that this model was outside that room. He used his first movement to do like a 3-inch movement up to here, avoiding the line of sight of those enemies here. So he is not seen through the window. And after that, he will just do a 1-inch move to be placed directly at that window. And you can imagine that he's placing a tarp above his head or on the window itself, just again to mask his position, so the enemy can't see him at all until he fires, or yeah, that's pretty much it, or if he moves again. So this model here, the advantage of that, he can reveal enemy. So for example, from there, he can reveal this threat token and this one. But again, those models that are looking in that direction can't detect him. The next action is a combat action. So here, let's say that I have my team that wants to attack those 2 models that are just at the intersection here. So I'm going to activate my first model. I'm going to use him to move up to the vehicle here. So he have a pretty good cover with the vehicle. And now he's going to use his second action point to target this model over here. When doing a combat action, the first step is to look at the weapon that your model is using. So here, this DevGru guy here is equipped with an assault rifle. So the assault rifle, you can look at the small arms in the cheat sheet section. The rifle here Between 0 to 6 inches, you roll 2d20, and between 6 and the max range, which the assault rifle doesn't have, so it's 6 to infinite, you roll a single dice. So here, let's quickly look at the range. So we are indeed outside of 6 inches, so I'm going to roll only one dice. Let's now pick the card from this model. So here is the card from this model. It's an assault class from the tier 1. All tier 1 operators have the same stat, and here are all the stats used when doing a combat action. The first stat is used when you are aiming at an enemy which is in the open with no body armor. It uses the easy combat stat. The next stat, the medium combat stat, is used when the enemy have a body armor or when the enemy is behind some cover. And the final stat is used when the enemy have both a body armor and is behind cover. So in this situation here, we are aiming at that basic fighter. The insurgent fighter doesn't have any body armor and is completely in the open. There is no cover between my guy and this model. So here I'm going to need to roll on a 5+ to be able to hit that model. So let's pick a d20, I'm going to roll it, and I actually score a 4, which means I miss that guy, so nothing happened here. He still take 1 point of suppression because I fire once at him. So now let's activate a second model. Here I'm going to activate that second model. He's going to move up to here. He's equipped with the same type of weapon and have the same stats. So here I also need a 5+ to be able to hit that model in the open. So let's roll again. And here I score a 12. Enemy model have only 1 health point. So here as soon as I hit the guy, he is killed and can be removed from play. As long as the alert is not raised, you can leave the dead body on the ground because an enemy model might see him and might raise the alert. But here, let's say that the alert is already raised. That second model here is in some sort of cover, is behind some sandbag, so it's harder to target him. So let's activate here a third model. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move him here, and he's going to target that guy. Here, I'm using my point man, which is equipped with an MP7, an SMG. The SMG uses 2d20, but the max range is 18 inches, so he can't fire more than that. So here, I am within 18 inches, so I'm going to roll 2 dice. But the enemy is behind cover, so I need a 9+ to be able to hit him. So let's take those 2 dice and roll them. And here I score a 10 and a 5. The 10 is enough to touch him, meaning the enemy here is killed. So that's pretty much it for the basic of combat, but let's now quickly talk about suppression. Each shot you make against an enemy model, or if the enemy fire at your guy, it uses the same system, it's subject to, it inflict 1 suppression point. So let's say that this model fire at that guy, which is in cover and miss. That second guy also fire 1 shot and miss. And here, the SMG, let's say we are really not lucky here, he fire his 2 shots and also miss that guy. That make a total of 4 shots sent toward that guy, so he get 4 suppression points. When a model receives 3 suppression points, he is considered suppressed, and for its next activation, he will get only 1 single action point. And if he gets shot 6 times or more, he is considered pinned, and when a model is pinned, he don't have any action point to use for its next activation. So here you might think that, yeah, it's a pretty rare case. Indeed, when targeting an enemy, it might be pretty rare, but the enemy can also fire at your guy that are in good cover with some body armor, so they are harder to shoot at, and they are more enemy on the table than your guy, so there is a lot more chance for your guys to be suppressed and pinned than for the enemy model. Also, one thing is, depending on the weapon used, some weapons inflict more suppression points. That's the case for all the machine gun and the sniper rifle. They have a special rule here on the right that said that they inflict 2 suppression points per shot. And that's actually even more dangerous because the machine gun already fire 2 shots. So 2 shots for 2 suppression points. So if an enemy target your guy and fail, that's already a total of 4 suppression points toward your guy. So let's see that as an example. Let's see that we are ending our turn. It's the turn of the enemy. He's doing a combat action. He's firing my model over here. So this is the card from the gunner. My model here is in good cover and he has a body armor, so the gunner needs to roll an 18 plus to be able to hit me. He's equipped with the machine gun, so I'm going to roll 2 dice, a 4 and a 1, so he missed all his shots. But those 2 shots inflict twice suppression point. That means here this guy receives a total of 4 suppression points. So in the following turn, when I will activate this model, he will only get 1 action point to use for this turn. Let's now talk about melee. So here I have an enemy model on the corner of that building, and I have one of my guy here. This model, we don't see it really well, but is actually equipped with a knife. And actually most of the tier 1 operators are equipped with a knife. And that's important because it gives a bonus to melee combat. When doing a melee combat, you use the easy stat if the enemy model has no body armor, and you use the medium combat stat if the enemy has a body armor. So in that case here, I'm attacking a basic fighter which doesn't have any body armor. So the first step here is to do my standard move action, move up 2 inches and enter base contact with that enemy model. From there, I'm going to do a basic roll. Here I'm using the easy combat stat again because that enemy doesn't have any body armor. Let's look at the weapons table. So when you do a melee combat, you roll a single dice, and if you are equipped with a melee weapon, a knife or a machete for example, you can roll 2 dice. So in that specific example, I can roll up to 2 dice, and I need a 5 plus to be able to hit the guy. So here I have that dice is a 3, so that's not enough, but this one is an 11, that means I win the fight. When you win a fight, you can decide to kill the enemy or to capture him. And I'm going to talk about the capture just after, because you can interrogate a model that you have captured. So that was the melee when the enemy is looking at your direction. But at the start of the game, when you want to be a bit sneaky, if you attack an enemy model in melee where he is looking away from your model, that's the example here, this guy is looking on the left. If you advance without entering his line of sight, it's automatically a win. You don't even need to roll. You arrive by the end and you kill the enemy model right away. Coming back to that model that we just captured. When you have captured a model, the next action we want to talk about here is the interrogate action. When you are interrogating a model, you can choose to get information, to get intel on 2 different things. Either the location of the leader, the enemy leader on that specific mission, or to get information on the location of the objective. So let's say that for this specific mission, we don't know the position of the exact objective. And when you have those type of mission, you use those objective tokens that you need to place face down. So there is one here, one there, and one here. Everything is defined on the mission setup card, but in most scenarios, you only reveal them when you have a line of sight on those threat tokens. So let's say that in this example, I don't have line of sight on any of those threat tokens. When here I interrogate a model, and if I choose to get information on the location of the objective, I can reveal any threat token of my choice to see if it's the actual objective or not. And here I actually just reveal the real objective that was placed over there. So I know that the 2 other objectives are fake location and the real one is over there. The second intel we can get from a model bear in mind you can only, from a single enemy, you can get only one intel. So here, if I've chosen to get information on the objective, that's done for this model and is dead now and it can't give you more information. But let's say we didn't ask for information on the objective, but we asked the position of the leader. Finding the leader, the enemy leader, is really important because he can really mess up your day and call some heavy reinforcement. So that's important to find him. So when you get intel on the position of the leader, you pick a random thread token that has not been revealed on the board. So here in this example, I have one here, one there, one here and one there, so that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I will do here is give a number to each of them. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to roll a dice, and the number obtained will give you the location of the leader. So here the leader will be there. And the leader always comes with his crew. So here 3 fighters plus the cell leader, so that will be the location of the enemy leader just there. The next action on the list is the grenade. When you are throwing a grenade, based on the distance you are throwing it, it's harder. Between 0 and 3 inch, it's automatic. Between 3 and 6, it uses the easy combat stat, 6 to 9 medium, and 9 to 12 hard. And the max range is 12. So here, let's say that in this situation, my assault guy over here, behind that van, is throwing a grenade at that group of enemies. Again, the max range is 12, so I am within range, and I'm basically aiming here just behind the sandbags. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a bit more than 9. So here I'm using the hard combat stat, which will be a tough throw. So here I'm going to take my assault card. The hard combat stat here is a 13+. So I need to score a 13+ to be able to land the grenade exactly where I want. And here I score a 10. That means it's a miss. I miss and the grenade will scatter. The easiest thing here is to place the location where you were aiming, and then you take a d6 and a scatter dice, you roll those two, and this will define where the grenade will actually land. So here I'm going to roll it like that, and the grenade will land 3 inch in the direction of the scatter. So that means in this situation the grenade actually lands behind that wall, and it will land over here. There are 3 different types of grenade: fragmentation, smoke, and stun grenade. In this situation, I was throwing a frag grenade. Model within the blast radius of the frag grenade are hit on a 7+. So here, let's see the hand grenade here have a blast radius of 1.5 inch. So here, the grenade actually fall just behind the wall here. That model here is within the blast radius. So you need to roll a simple dice, and that model is killed on a 7+, which is what we have over here. So this model here is killed. The other model here are within the blast radius, actually this one, but not this one, but they are not in direct line of sight of where the grenade land because of the wall, so they are not affected by the grenade. The next action on the list is the Overwatch. We can place a model in Overwatch so we will be able to fire in the enemy movement phase. So here, let's say that this guy, I'm going to move him on the back of the van. Here he's looking down the road on the left because let's say those guys were a bit on the back. You don't see them right away. The idea here is that I will place this model in Overwatch. In the following phase, the enemy combat phase, those models have a chance to move in the direction, and when they do, the model may decide to trigger the Overwatch shot. So here, it will trigger the Overwatch. This model is in the open, so it will be easier to target. The next action is the first aid action. With this action, you can heal a downed model and put him back up with 1 action point. The first thing to understand here is that your model has 2 health point, and each health point grant them 1 action point. So they start again the game with 2 health points, granting them 2 action points. But if they are shot once, they will lose 1 health point. They will have the status injured. So let's say that this guy here has the injured status. For his next activation, he will only be able to use 1 action point. And if he's shot a second time, so let's say that this enemy here, it's the enemy turn, he fire at that guy. This guy is hit, he's losing a second health point, and now he is placed in a down state. A model in a down state is not immediately killed, is placed on its side like that. But it can still be revived by another model with the first aid action. To do the first aid action, a model needs to be in base-to-base contact with the down model, and you need to do that action. So let's first do the movement. So here, this model here will move up to 6 inches to be in base contact with that model. Here, I may choose to do the first aid action to put that model back up on his feet. He will lose again this down state, but he still is injured, so we'll still have the injured token. But what you can also do here, for example, it's a bit in the middle of the open, it's a pretty dangerous situation, so I don't really want to heal that guy there, so I can move up to here, and I can decide to drag that model. The drag is following the simple move action, so you can move up to 6 inches. So basically here I can move that guy back to where I was near that truck. And maybe another model, let's say that I had another model on the back here, that other model could come over here and do the first aid action. Only again, when you do the first aid action, you put that model back up, but again, he has the injured status and you only have 1 health point for the remainder of the game. Only one class can fully heal a model, so he retrieves his both action point, that's the medic class. And yeah, that's written on its class card, but all other class can only put a model that is down back up with 1 health point. The next action is the Interact action. So this is done when you are placing, for example, an explosive charge. It's really objective based, or it can be also used on some class skills. Again, like for example, the demolition class has an explosive shard, and if you want to place that explosive shard somewhere on the board, you need to use the Interact action. The Interact action is really the generic action to do something on the board. Finally, the last action is the breach action. So let's say that here my team arrive on that door and they want to enter a door. When your model are in contact with a door that looks closed, the door could either be closed or locked. And here you need to roll a die to define its status. On a 1 to 10, the door is simply closed and you can open it. On an 11 to 20, the door is actually locked and you need to breach it to be able to enter the room, the building. So here I'm going to roll a die, and here it's a simple 2, so the door is simply closed and you can simply open it and move your team inside. Moving through a door is done part of the standard movement, nothing special here. But when the door is locked, you need to basically kick it with your foot to be able to enter it. To kick the door open, you need an 11 plus. So let's say that this door was actually locked. You need another 11 plus to be able to kick the door. So here I score an 18, which is great. The door is now open. I can again move inside it. The thing is, by kicking a door, you make some noise, and kicking the door can be heard up to 12 inches, so it have a chance of raising the alarm. There is also the breacher class, which I have here with a breaching kit on his back, he have a special ability that allow him to basically automatically win any breach action without. So let's take his card. So that's this card over here. He has the Door Kicker skill. This unit is equipped with the breaching charges. They can be used to open any door or create a 1-inch wall in any wall, and each cost 1 action point to use. So yeah, it's just easier. He's just the best at opening doors. And that's it for all the base action that any model on the board can do. But as you can see, every class comes also with skills. Every class has different set of skills they can use on the board. I'm not going to cover all of them because there are 30 classes, and some classes have three skills, for example, like here, the team leader. Some skills are passive, some skills are active, and those can really change the tide of the battle. So for example, just having a look at the team leader, his first skill is the Empower. He can give one of his action points to another friendly model on the board. That could be super useful. Let's say you have one of your model that is being targeted by multiple enemy model, and is maybe pinned. He can't move anymore because he doesn't have any action point. You can activate your leader, use the Empower ability to give 1 action point to this model. So this guy can simply move outside of the line of sight of the enemy, so in the future turn he will get his action point back. Another action that the team leader can do is to the support skill. The team leader may call in a support card. Every unit in the game have access to different actions, and those can be fairly good, like a tactical jammer that prevents the enemy from calling backup, an unmanned ground vehicle equipped with a machine gun, a medevac to extract the wounded soldier, artillery barrage. So there are really a lot of different cards your team can call. So make sure to be careful where to place your leader so he's not the first one to be killed. And finally, again, looking at the team leader, he has the threat assessment. So even if he did 2 move or sneak action, he can still enter Overwatch to be able to fire during the enemy movement. So that's pretty much it for the player phase. Basically, again, summarizing, you activate one model after the other, using their 2 action points to do action on the board. There is a list of 10 actions each model can do, and again, each class has also some specific skill you can use to fight off the enemy. And that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching it, and I will see you all for the next one. Bye everyone!